going on, guys? Wanted to do a video on tokenized gold. There's not a whole lot of options out there, but there's been a lot of recent news of things going on with the U.S. Treasury and how they're running out of money, and there's the debt limit and a lot of things going on in politics. And one of the best hedges against that is getting into tokenized gold. If you go through what we see in the markets right now, they're reporting that there's four. There's FAUCET, Tether Gold, Kinesis Gold, and PerthMink Gold. However, PerthMink Gold looks as though it's going to be discontinued. And I was looking for a little information on that as to why that was going on. And there's a couple articles here that were showing that the leading partner, Truvio, has ceased its support for the gold-backed token. And there are some reasons for that. It looks like there may have been some issues with selling gold to China and it not meeting those high stringent standards, and so there might have been some issues with some of the gold that was stored in its vault. There seems to be several issues as to why that happened, but it is winding down, and so at that point you're only going to have three. And the top two options, the one with the largest market caps, are interesting to look at, because when we look at token-backed assets, those are some of the top ones with the most liquidity behind them, is Fuse.Gold and Tether Gold. And some of the other ones are more backed by traditional cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, USDC. So, but if you look at some of those ones with compound finance that are in the top five, and even with curve finance, those ones are ones where you can earn interest on. You can earn yield by holding those assets and getting involved with those protocols. You can't do that with Fuse.Gold. You can't do that with Tether Gold. They are very simple, stores of value that are tied to the price of gold, and they look as though they're fairly legitimate. But I'm always interested in finding passive income options and some of the options that are out there. And there's been a new project, Fuse.Gold, that offers a lot of innovation and some things that we haven't seen in this precious metals market. And I think that having exposure to precious metals is a very good way to go. But one of the issues and problems with that is that you're unable to earn yield on it. You're just it's kind of a store of value if things in society break down and there's an issue of fiat currencies. Looking at some of these newer options, there's some interesting aspects to earning yield on gold and storing your value in gold and having that as a hedge. I've gotten into a lot of projects in the hex and pulse chain ecosystem, and a lot of those have gone down significantly, which has been very unfortunate to see. But those are ones where there's a lot more risk with those, and with these you have your value is tied to tokenized gold or in some cases silver. And you have some different options on earning yield with those. Right now, you can even earn free GoldX with their FAUCET system, and as part of their marketing system that they're going to be rolling out as that new blockchain launches, and some of those things are rolled out. And so, if you go to some of the links that I provided in the description below, you can claim your free gold. The rewards aren't what they were previously. You were able to earn quite a bit more when it was first rolling out, but you still have the ability to earn some free gold. So certainly take advantage of that. It's going to add a new network to your MetaMask, and so this is a little bit different than some of the tokenized gold that we see with Fuse and Tether. Those ones are going to live on the Ethereum blockchain as an ERC20 token. This one is going to be a completely new blockchain. It's going to have a lot of different aspects to earn yield in some of the yield farms that will be coming available. This is a very innovative ecosystem that deserves some attention. So some of the things with tokenized gold, if you were to actually have the physical gold, sometimes it's not necessarily the best option. Like here in Iquitos, Peru, they don't really have a market system for that. They transact a little bit in jewelry, but in terms of like bars of gold and silver, they don't really have that here. Might be something that would be available more in the capital in Lima, but here it's not something that's really readily available. So if you did have some sort of situation where you had hyperinflation or some sort of breakdown in the national currency, then you have some different ways to mitigate that. And I think that having some exposure to some of these up and coming tokenized gold ecosystems is going to be really beneficial, because I think that those offer a lot more stability over some of the stablecoin project. Those tokenized gold ecosystems could be a really good play when we've witnessed a lot of problems with some of the stablecoin markets and some of those becoming depegged, and some of those not having some of the same reliability. Even Tether, has had some problems with not, fully disclosing some of their assets and having a one-to-one backing has been kind of the biggest criticism of that, even though it's the largest. So USDC has been gaining in popularity over Tether because of some of the transparency issues that we've seen with a fully crypto exchange in the Gemini exchange, whereas USDC has a little bit more exposure to the traditional banking systems. So right now you have the ability to earn yield on your stablecoins in yield farms by getting involved with providing liquidity, and there's some lower returns with some of those, but you do have the ability to earn money on cash if you do believe that those stablecoins are stable and will continue to be stable in the future. And so that's a little bit of a gamble. There's always going to be a little bit of counterparty risk when you're getting involved with some of these tokenized assets, but stable coins have their backing to a currency that could hyperinflate, and we could see that with the US dollar. It's the debt is going through the roof. There's been so much hyperinflation, so much money that's being printed, and probably is going to continue to escalate in the future. And I think you need to have some different options on getting involved into something that's backed by a real asset like gold and silver. And there's not a whole lot of options out there, and there's even fewer options where you have the ability to earn yield. Now, as I was doing some more of my research, I came into I came to understand a new ecosystem called KinesisMoney, and I think this one is very interesting. They're offering a lot of options. They're offering the ability to earn yield on not only on gold but also silver as well. And so there's some really interesting aspects to this ecosystem, and I think it's worth getting involved in both of them. This one has been out. It's been running for roughly about 3 years. There's not as much market data on CoinMarketCap. It looks like some of those offerings may be a little bit new. You have the ability to earn yield. It's going to be lower, maybe 6 or 7%, but you can earn yield in those tokenized gold, and you have the ability within the KinesisMoney system to get into different cryptocurrencies and to move money around in that way. And so I think having exposure to tokenized gold is going to be something that's going to be very important in the future with some of the issues and problems that we may see in the fiat currencies not sustaining their value. KinesisMoney is interesting because they have some decent exposure on YouTube. They do seem to have a fairly large community. They got off of Telegram because they were getting exposed to a lot of the problems that were there. In terms of scams and people impersonating admins and trying to get access to people's accounts, and so they've moved away from that. There's a lot of interesting things that KinesisMoney is doing, and so I think that right now where I see the innovation with the tokenized gold is with KinesisMoney, is with Fuse.Gold, which hasn't technically launched yet, but I think those two ecosystems offer a lot of upside potential, and I think that those ones will be really great to get into here in the future with having a little bit of a more solid backing if you want to be a little bit risk averse. I get into a lot of projects that have that are a lot riskier, and so sometimes those don't play out, and I've had a lot of projects that haven't done well over the last year or two for whatever reason, and I think it's important to kind of get into some very solid projects and have that as a backing. And so I see these as ones that you have the ability to hold some value in gold and protect yourself from potential issues or problems that may happen with fiat currencies in the future, and you also have the ability to earn yield on those. Now, those yields are not going to be as high as you might be able to get into other plays, but there's a solid backing behind them. And so I think that having exposure to some of those is going to be important. I'm looking at kind of getting into reevaluating how I'm going to do a crypto portfolio, getting into ones that aren't going to have as much downside potential that we've seen with some of the the things that were going on within the Hex ecosystem and Pulse Chain. Those have gone down considerably. Could be a really good buying opportunity, but there's a lot of people that are cashing out right now, and that's causing prices to just come down substantially. I have lost so much value, in over the past, month or so, by being invested in those. Whereas, had I just been in Bitcoin or Ethereum and playing it a little bit safer, or even tokenized gold, I would have been able to sustain, that value. And so I think I need to, get into some projects that have a little bit more of a solid backing. And so Kinesis and Fuse.Gold, I think, offer those. Now the ArcFi ecosystem is also coming out with their own gold-backed token, and that'll be interesting to see how they manage to incorporate that. That I'm not sure if that's going to be yield producing, but they are certainly working on a gold-backed token, and not sure when that's going to launch, but that'll be one to look out for as well. But I think you'll start to see some more options of people getting into precious metals and having that as a backing to some of these crypto projects that offer some different ways of holding your value, as opposed to what we've seen with some of the fiat currencies that potentially could hyperinflate. Some of the news that I've been seeing recently is a lot of the stuff that's been going on with BRICS, and if BRICS really takes off and challenges the US dollar with all of the debt and things that are going on within the US ecosystem in terms of their money supply, that could be massive when you're looking at some of those stable tokens. We haven't really seen a whole lot of stable tokens that are tied to other assets other than the dollar, but we may start to see that. A lot of this is just trying to be a little bit more risk averse when you're getting into cryptocurrencies and holding value, but still having the ability to earn a little bit of yield. And I think that's going to appeal to a lot of traditional finance people that don't want to expose themselves to this huge risk of getting involved with some of these projects that could go down substantially in value. So I just wanted to bring some awareness to those. I'm going to follow up on and do some more videos on these because I'm very interested in them. But if you're looking to get involved, certainly claim your free gold on GoldX. It's very straightforward. And also, if you're getting into KinesisMoney, you have some ability to earn yield on tokenized gold right now. So I think both of those are great options. And, I'll be sure to be giving you guys updates here in the future. So curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.